What's up, guys? It's March 8th. We've got some news to cover. Just wanted to go live and get right to it because I spent a little bit of time in Jay's stream, Jay Griffia for the uninitiated, and he was showing some of the articles on multiple Korean websites that had come out today, basically saying that IronMace had been raided. There was a little bit of back and forth between him and some of the followers and subscribers, and then Grayson posted an announcement in the Discord basically stating that we should not worry. So what we're going to talk about is some of the articles that I've been able to scour the internet for and locate, and we'll talk about some translation issues as well, and then I'll give you my take on it. So let's check this one out. On screen right now, we're looking at an article from a site that is mk.co.kr. I'm not going to be able to help you out with pronouncing any of this stuff, by the way. So if you're expecting me to somehow wax fluent Korean, it's not happening. But anyway. Headline reads, Project Leakage Suspicion Broke Out. Nexon will be held accountable until the end. Yeah, I didn't read that quite properly, did I? Nexon is basically saying IronMace will be held accountable until the end. You can already start to see how easy it is to mistranslate a lot of this stuff. And I'm not going to sit here and bore you with reading this whole article line by line. But I'll just give you a few examples that leave reason for doubt anytime that you just jump on a Korean website, use Google Translate, and think you have the full story. No, absolutely not. Number one, IronMace isn't even spelled correctly. Well, it's spelled correctly, but it's two different words. To my knowledge, it is a single word. If I'm wrong about that, then F me, because I've always had it be one word. But Nexon said Dark and Darker, which was released by IronMace later, has a core concept, a fantasy worldview, genre characteristics that combine PvP and PvE, major play methods including a combat system, major planning contents such as classes, as well as UI design. Almost everything in the game is very similar to the P3 project. Now, for those of you that don't know, the P3 project was a Nexon game that multiple IronMace developers did work on. I don't think they've ever denied that. People have been able to piece this together pretty easily. The question has always been, would IronMace be stupid enough to leave a company, because Nexon ostensibly said, no, we're done with this P3 game, scrap that. And P3 was basically an earlier form of Dark and Darker. I mean, let's just call it what it is. But the development team that was there was passionate about that game. Nexon decided to scrap it and tell these guys, hey, we're going to build a first-person shooter instead. These guys left, formed IronMace, and started basically building a very similar game. The question has always been, did they steal any of the things that they were working on while at Nexon? My argument has always been, there's no chance they were stupid enough to do that. Now, Nexon, being a behemoth game developer, naturally they're going to go after them. So none of this is shocking to me. What was a little bit shocking was the part that seems to have been corroborated by Grayson. The shocking part was that IronMace was actually raided today. There was a police search and seizure at IronMace HQ. Now, we don't know if they actually took anything off site or if they just showed up and did some kind of forensic cyber audit. Right? Maybe they were checking for outbound connections. I'd read in one of the articles that Jay had up that, they were checking for outbound connections to a cloud server. Okay, fine. But one of just the biggest takeaway for me, I'm not going to beat this dead horse here, but anytime you use Google Translate on this stuff, it's so dicey. To make assumptions off this is not the wisest thing in my book. So the company, here's an example. The company has requested a stern and thorough investigation by the investigative agency for this case. It's like the redundancy department of redundancy right there. Google Translate is not great. Now, what is kind of great is ChatGPT. It's a lot better at this kind of thing. So I dumped that exact same content into ChatGPT, and it gave me a much better output. So if you guys are interested in reading this, I would highly encourage you to try to translate this more than once, assuming that you don't speak Korean. Now, it does get IronMace, the name, incorrect, but pretty much everything else looks a lot more legit than what you'll find on Google Translate, I'll tell you that. At the end of the day, IronMace has not steered us wrong yet, at least that I'm aware of. They've been extremely transparent. Terrence came out and addressed the issues as soon as they were brought up publicly about the lawsuit, which we later discovered was against one developer. And for all we know, maybe that's what this raid was all about. But I'm going to take Grayson at his word this evening for me, Eastern Standard Time, when he came out and said, we're good. Don't worry about that. Playtest is on time. Nothing's changed. So for me, I wouldn't treat I wouldn't treat these Korean articles any different than I'd treat a bunch of dirty rag publications here in the United States for now, because I don't have reason to believe that this is all credible. The only thing that seems credible is that there was a lawsuit. Maybe it's still going on for one of the developers. That IronMace did have the cops show up today. Grayson admitted to that. But what Terrence said a while back in the official Dark and Darker Discord remains true. If they didn't take any code, there's no copyright on a game genre. And that's why they're going to win, in my opinion. That's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.